Hi everyone, this is Stefan. Today I would like to make kind of an executive summary on the East-West Composer Cloud right after the release of the Opus Edition. For those who are already subscribers, I guess it's no-brainer. Because as soon as you subscribe to the Composer Cloud, every new release, every update, every whatever comes for free, which was the case of the Opus Edition. It came for free for Composer Cloud subscribers. And for those who are considering subscribing to East West, it is something to seriously take on board when you make your decision. Because last year, or since a couple of years ago, well, I got, I would say, for free the new Space Reverb. I got a bunch of new libraries such as backup singers, such as Voices of the Opera, Voices of Soul, a lot of stuff that you get automatically as soon as it's released by East West for free. Currently, the flagship from East West are definitely the Hollywood strings, Hollywood brass, and Hollywood woodwinds. I mean, it's not all what you get. If you go to the database and check what you get, well, here I have 13,000 patches that are available for me from the East-West. Amongst those 13,000, I have installed almost 10,000, meaning that I have a full 2 terabyte SSD drive that is dedicated to East-West. That's a fact. So you get, as I just said, these Hollywood brass choir also, because the Hollywood choir is also very, very good using the word builder. You can really create realistic choir lanes on your productions. You get the percussions, you get the woodwinds, you get the solo instruments, solo cello, solo violin, but that's not all what you get. You get the Ministry of Rock 1 and 2, which very good patches for basses, drums and guitar. You get a lot of this old stuff, 25 years anniversary. So these are old loops, old material that you may consider as crap, but you may also consider them as a good base, good material to build some sound design. You get the pianos that are really good to me. Since I'm not a great piano player, I found this beautiful. You get the Pro Drummer sessions that are very interesting because you don't only get samples, you get a lot of grooves and you can create nice drum parts. And you get, for instance, these silk and raw that are ethnic instruments. Very well recorded and very playable, very interesting. You get this storm drum, okay, 1, 2, and mainly 3, which were a couple of years ago like one of their flagship in terms of percussions, in terms of drums. Okay, maybe it's not like Damage, but you can find very good materials here. And you get the very old symphonic orchestra that I personally never neglect. Why? Because they offer a crazy amount of articulation. And if I go to the brass, for instance, and I go to French horns, and if I grab, the key switch patch, I get a crazy amount of articulation. And that can be very useful to build phrases, to build melody. Because people tend to use legato patches only to build a melody, and then it definitely lacks expression. And from that point of view, well, these symphonic orchestra brass, and it's the same with the strings and the woodwinds, are still very usable. And last but not least, you get this series of Voice of Opera, Patience, Soul, Voice of the Empire, where you can grab a lot of stuff, a lot of material that you can use to build your choirs. And when you switch to the database mode, then you can search everything. I mean, we were talking about vocals. Let's say I want to check what I have vocals. I have basically 731 pages. And what is nice in the Opus Edition is that when you select a patch, then you can listen to the sound of it. And that's very, very useful. A few words about the Opus player. A lot of people complain about the Play engine, and for a reason. Actually, if you don't have a beast of a computer with plenty of RAM and SSD drives and so on, it just won't work. Fact is, these days, having an SSD drive or M2 drive and a decent amount of RAM is not so unusual. I made a few tests on this, and I compared the same patches that I played with the Play engine, old version, and the new Opus player, and I must say that on top of the cosmetic update, which personally I don't give a damn about it, the script has been revisited because mainly for legato patches, for instance, it's much smoother than it used to be, and the patches are much more playable than they used to be. So that is really good news. On top of the improvement in terms of playability, in terms of sound, which is already a very good reason and a very good upgrade, I must say that from the tests that I carried out, the memory and CPU usage have been seriously improved as well. We now have a really clean purge system. You just have to press here and then it's purge, and then the Play engine will just, you know, load the samples that you need, and that can be very useful when you write a track, because if you have like 30, 40 or 50 tracks with individual Opus players, then it's gonna be a lot of RAM. But then when your track is ready, is finished, then you can purge all the samples for all the instances of Opus, and it can be done by one click for all of them. And then you play again your track, and it will only load the samples that you need, and you will save gigs and gigs of RAM, and that's also very important. So it's time to wrap up, I guess. I hope I could demonstrate that the Composer Cloud, with all the updates from the Opus Edition, is really a great deal. It's a great deal because you get serious value for the money. For the price of one coffee per day, you get one of the biggest and best collection of patches in the industry. I have no intention to compare the Hollywood Orchestra with ADO or with Spitfire or with Audio Imperia. That's not the point here. They are all very, very good products with their pros and their cons. Just to say that this one is really a great deal. You get all the legacy sound from East to West since maybe 15 or 20 years ago. You get some of the best string and brass libraries on the market. You get a lot of tools and additional patches to do whatever you want. You will always find the patch that you need for your tracks. You get Orchestrator on top, which is really an interesting tool to learn how to orchestrate your music. You get a new player, which is really smooth and with very good performances compared to the old Play engine. You will get Space Reverb, which is also a great circumvolution reverb. So for those who are considering a subscription to the Composer Cloud, well, I hope this will help you to make your decision. And for those who already own the product, well, I hope that you will agree with me. And if it's not the case, then feel free to comment in a polite way, of course. I will leave you now because it's gonna be time to go to work, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.